Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the most dramatic, rapid, and frankly, shocking product life cycles in the entire history of consumer tech. We're looking at the wild journey of OpenAI's Sora 2. This was a revolutionary video generation platform that completely shifted the boundaries of what artificial intelligence could create, only to be suddenly erased from the consumer market just months after it launched. Today, we're going to explore the mind-blowing tech behind it, the creators who pushed it to its absolute limits, the brutal economics that dragged it down, and finally, discover why the whole shebang fell apart so fast. To really get a feel for the impact of this tool, I want you to listen to this quote. Assalamu alaikum. Right now I'm in the back streets of Lahore trying the famous chole chaat. The yogurt, the tamarind chutney, the fresh coriander, the aroma is amazing. Okay, now here is the mind-bending reality. That entirely localized, perfect Urdu vlog with flawless lip movements, local street flavor, and perfectly synced ambient noise was 100% artificially generated. No way, right? But the creator never actually stepped foot in that street. The entire thing was just a prompt.
So here's how we're going to break it all down today. 1. The Sora 2 revolution. 2. Creators and cameos. 3. Standard versus Pro. 4. The shocking shutdown. And 5. What happens next?
All right, Chapter 1. The Sora 2 revolution. Now, when OpenAI dropped this model in September 2025, let me tell you, the hype was absolutely justified. You gotta remember, the original Sora was visually stunning, sure, but it was completely silent and honestly pretty structurally flawed. Sora 2 completely changed the game. It introduced fully synchronized audio. We're talking ambient wind, traffic, the clink of a coffee cup, but more importantly, it delivered flawless lip syncing across multiple languages, all backed by a massively upgraded physics engine that handled complex interactions like bouncing basketballs with startling realism. And all of this was made possible by something called the diffusion transformer model. Basically, instead of viewing a video frame by frame, kind of like an old-school flipbook, this architecture treats video as continuous space-time patches. It looks at the whole scene over time. This allows the AI to calculate complex lighting, render individual clothing fibers, and maintain strict temporal consistency, meaning objects don't just randomly morph or disappear when the camera pans around. It's like a giant, perfectly stable puzzle. Let's jump into Chapter 2, Creators and Cameos. This tech unlocked a feature called Cameos, and it literally took the creator economy by storm. The workflow was brilliantly simple, but still really tightly secure. Step 1, you just open the iOS app. Step 2, you record a quick 10-second facial scan to lock in your identity, which was absolutely crucial as a hard stop against impersonation. And Step 3, you just tag your username in a prompt, and boom, instantly, you could legally insert your own fully animated 3D rendered face into literally any virtual environment. As you can imagine, the hyper-local use cases just exploded. We had face-to-camera Urdu vloggers exploring the mountains of Kashmir without ever leaving their desk chairs. We saw targeted product reviews, things like local beard growth serums and urgent whitening facial demos, all delivered by AI avatars of real, local creators. They were completely bypassing physical sets, hiring actors, setting up ring lights. The whole traditional production process was just gone. Moving on to Chapter 3, Standard versus Pro. Now, rendering these hyper-realistic worlds was incredibly expensive behind the scenes, so getting access required either a Plus or a Pro subscription, and the difference between the two was pretty staggering. The Plus tier was $20 a month, capped at 720p resolution and a maximum of 15 seconds. You know, fine for a quick TikTok. But the Pro tier, that demanded $200 a month. Yeah. But it unlocked broadcast-quality 1080p and 25-second durations, which officially opened the door for actual, serious narrative storytelling. But here is the real kicker. The underlying resource consumption was wild. Generating a standard 720p video burned 16 credits per second. Pushing that up to 1080p, that burned 40 credits a second. Creators quickly realized that generating just a few 20-second professional clips could vaporize their entire monthly budget in a single afternoon, especially when you factor in all those inevitable, sometimes hilarious AI mutations and the endless prompt tweaks you need to get the perfect shot. Which brings us to Chapter 4, the shocking shutdown. Just as creators were really building full-fledged businesses around this tool, the floor completely fell out. Trace this unprecedented timeline for a second. Sora 2 launched to massive fanfare in September 2025. Barely 6 months later, in March 2026, OpenAI announced a total shutdown. By April, the consumer app and web experiences were just dead, and the developer API, that's scheduled to go completely dark in September 2026. The tech wasn't failing. It was just deliberately pulled right out of our hands.
To really understand why, you only need to look at one staggering fact. Keeping Sora 2 running required millions of dollars in daily compute costs. Millions! Because unlike just spitting out text or a static image, rendering dozens of frames with consistent motion, lighting, and accurate physics, that demands astronomical amounts of electricity and processing power. Honestly, it was just an economic and logistical perfect storm. First, like we said, those compute costs were entirely unsustainable. Second, they fell into a massive free usage trap. Casual users were generating endless, super expensive videos just for fun, but they were never converting into high-paying enterprise clients. Third, OpenAI obviously wanted a reliable return on investment. And finally, the moderation nightmare. Operating an open platform that generates hyper-realistic fake video carries some incredibly severe legal baggage when it comes to deepfakes and election interference. For a consumer app, the risks just vastly outweighed the rewards.
And finally, Chapter 5. What happens next? So the consumer app is dead, but the underlying engine is actually very much alive. OpenAI has made a huge strategic pivot away from social media and entertainment. Instead, they are reallocating all those massive computing resources toward robotics and physical world simulation. By teaching AI to simulate the real world, they're chasing multi-trillion-dollar opportunities in enterprise logistics, healthcare, and manufacturing. So video generation will survive, for sure, but only heavily restricted inside these massive enterprise tiers.
So what does this all mean for the rest of us? It leaves the entire industry at a really critical crossroads. As giants like OpenAI and Google abandon these costly consumer video apps, is high-quality AI video just going to become an enterprise-only luxury, strictly reserved for massive corporate budgets? Or will the rapid evolution of efficient open-source models actually win the war, putting this immense creative power back into the hands of everyday creators? It's a fundamental shift in the landscape, and it's one we'll be watching very closely. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.